86% of the people driving a luxury car right now are not millionaires. That number comes from 2 decades of research into how wealth actually works in America, and what it reveals is a trap that cost most people 6 figures over a career without them ever realizing it. Here's the mechanism, the 5-second question that exposes it on any purchase, and what the people with real money figured out a long time ago. This applies to you if you've ever earned more than the year before and somehow ended up feeling more stretched, not less. It applies even more if you're about to get a raise or a bonus, because what you do in the first 90 days after a windfall sets the trajectory for the next decade. Numbers in this video use U.S. data from Federal Reserve surveys and peer-reviewed research. Your local market may differ. The math works the same way everywhere. When you buy a luxury watch, a logo bag, or a car with a badge, you're not paying for quality. You're paying for a message you want strangers to receive. The problem is, the message almost never lands the way you picture it. Morgan Housel calls this the man in the car paradox. When you see someone drive past in a Ferrari, you don't think about that person. You picture yourself behind the wheel. You imagine how good your life would look from the driver's seat. The buyer just spent $300,000 to be a prop in a stranger's daydream. And the sticker price is never the real price. Buy the car and you need the higher insurance, the safer parking, the dealer service, the clothes that match the story. One visible upgrade quietly demands 4 invisible upgrades just to stay consistent. Then there's the cost you can't see at all. $10,000 not invested at age 30 is roughly $107,000 you don't have at 65, assuming a 7% real return. Status purchases don't just shrink your bank account, they shrink the menu of options you'll have at 50. If you're in your late 20s or early 30s right now, this part matters most. Every dollar you spend on appearances over the next 10 years does roughly 10 times the future damage of the same dollar spent at 50. The window matters more than the amount. Half of American millionaires have never paid more than $235 for a watch. The median price of their most recent car purchase, $31,367. These aren't people who can't afford more. They figured out, usually the hard way, that money sitting in a driveway depreciates while money sitting in an index fund compounds. This is what invisible wealth actually means. Money doing its real job. Sitting between you and the moment your boss says something you can't tolerate, or your kid needs surgery and the bill arrives before the insurance does. When your fixed costs are low enough that you don't need next month's paycheck to land, you bought something most high earners never get: the ability to say no. Social media bends this picture constantly. Every perfectly lit apartment tour is consumption presented as proof of success. You're not seeking anyone's balance sheet. Americans say it takes $2.3 million to be wealthy, but the median household net worth is $192,000. That gap between what people think wealth looks like and what it actually looks like is where most of the damage happens. What happens when someone suddenly comes into a lot of money proves this isn't about income at all. After this break, the lottery data, the NFL numbers, and what they reveal about the actual problem. Nearly 1/3 of lottery winners eventually declare bankruptcy. They're more likely to file within 3 to 5 years of winning than the average American. NFL players drafted between 1996 and 2003 filed for bankruptcy at a rate of 15.7% within 12 years of retirement, despite median career earnings of $3.2 million and $2,000. And here's the part that breaks most people's assumptions. The NBER study found that total career earnings and career length had no effect on the bankruptcy rate. Making more money didn't help. If a $3.2 million career can't solve this, your next raise can't either. When suddenly money lands, most people don't get calmer, they get louder. The new bank balance creates a new self-image, and the self-image demands to be fed. You start asking what someone in your new bracket should drive, where they should live, what vacations match their station. Within months, spending has expanded to consume the windfall and then some, because credit gets easier at every level above the last. Once your identity ties itself to the successful one in the room, spending stops being a choice. It becomes rent you pay to keep the role believable. People rarely go broke from one wild purchase. They go broke because they set a new baseline and forgot they were allowed to reset it. Which brings us to the question that fixes this. Before any purchase over a few $100s that isn't strictly necessary, ask one thing. Am I buying this because I actually use and value it? Or am I buying evidence that I belong in a certain category? If the honest answer involves anyone other than you, the real cost is much higher than the receipt. Try this for 30 days. Run the question on every discretionary purchase over $200. The watch you wanted because it looked good in meetings. The business class upgrade on a flight nobody else will see you on. The car a level above what you actually need. Some of these will still be worth buying. Most won't. The people with real wealth aren't supernaturally disciplined. They just got tired of paying rent on a character. Run the audit on the next purchase you're considering this week before you click buy.